Sony wrapped up their PlayStation 5 event with a bang when they revealed Horizon 2 Forbidden West. While the trailer is mostly in-engine cinematic footage, it gives us plenty of insight into Aloy's journey to the Pacific Ocean. Here are 10 things you need to know from the Horizon 2 reveal. Horizon Zero Dawn was set in Colorado, parts of Utah, northern Arizona, and a small part of Montana. Forbidden West is obviously set in the western United States, and we have a couple of confirmed locations judging off of this cinematic trailer. First is San Francisco, with a very clear picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, or what it looks like 1,000 years later. In the skyline near the end of the trailer, we can see the Transamerica building. Underwater is a shot of the ferry building with the words San Francisco along the top, just like it is in real life. Another underwater shot, we see the Palace of Fine Arts. And then finally, there's a shot of a completely dilapidated city hall in San Francisco. Horizon Zero Dawn had a lot of these examples where they took real-life locations and sort of morphed them and broke them down into this post-apocalyptic version. So we can definitely expect to see a lot more landmarks similar to the ones featured in this trailer. We also see Yosemite Valley. We can clearly make out El Capitan and other landmarks from this area. And then also this shot of the dunes in the sand looks very similar to Death Valley in California, which is near the border with Nevada. If Forbidden West is anything like Zero Dawn, it's likely to span across multiple states. And judging geographically where we are, this could include more of Arizona and definitely a lot of Nevada, possibly New Mexico to the south as well. But it's really anyone's guess at this point. I'm sure they want to increase the scale and the amount of locations that we're visiting in Forbidden West. Guerrilla has confirmed there will be dozens of new machines in the final game. We'll go over the 4 in the trailer and 1 from key art. The first are these giant turtles called shell snappers. We'll find them guarding shores and swamps. If I had to guess, they belong to the Purifier machine class, responsible for detoxification of the marine biosphere. Horizon Zero Dawn only featured one amphibious machine in the form of the Snap Maw. This is going to be a type of machine class that I think we'll see a lot more of in Forbidden West. We see mammoth-like machines called trauma tusks. I'm not sure if that's the right word, I couldn't understand the game director's accent. But he mentioned they're one of the bigger, more dangerous new machines. They're loaded with weapons and heavy-plated armor outfitted by one of the new tribes. Next are these wild boars, and if we're gonna fit them into a class, they look like they could be terraformers or transport class. In any case, we see that mysterious tribe once again overriding these machines. The pterodactyl-looking machines are called Sunwings, and all we know about them is that they obviously patrol the skies. If you look closely, you'll notice they have solar panels on their backs. Most likely, they belong to the Recycler class, responsible for breaking down old machines. Taken from Guerrilla's Twitter, we get a look at another machine, and this looks like a raptor or a velociraptor. And the Watchers from Zero Dawn already kind of look like raptors, so this could be just a modified Watcher or perhaps a brand new raptor-specific machine. In any case, it seems like they're recon class machines. Again, just guessing. In terms of returning machines, we see Aloy riding a charger throughout the trailer, one of 3 machines that she could use as a mount. And then in several shots, we see a variety of chariot-class machines, those involved with the Pharaoh Plague, responsible for eradicating life on Earth. As Aloy's riding her charger, we see a bunch of scarabs and kopeshes, and then of course in the background, the view of a giant metal devil or a Horus. There's another Horus in the shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. So we only knew of 4 in Zero Dawn. Clearly there are more to the west. Underwater, we see shots of the Snap Maw returning from Zero Dawn. And like I said with the giant snapping turtle, we should expect a lot more amphibious machines to be in Forbidden West, a lot more Purifier class options. Speaking of underwater, we have to talk about possible mechanics for this gameplay because it is something that was not in Horizon Zero Dawn. You can swim in that game and go underwater briefly for stealth, but you can't dive underneath and explore. We know from the lore of Zero Dawn that the coasts of the United States were underwater due to global warming in the 2030s. And while there were attempts to reclaim the land in the 2040s, they weren't able to recover everything, which is why we see cities like San Francisco completely underwater. Given the nature of those floods and judging from this trailer, underwater gameplay and exploration should be a big new feature in Forbidden West. We can only speculate at this point what that gameplay might look like and feel like, but I definitely expect a big focus and drawing point for Forbidden West to be about underwater exploration and gameplay. Sylens returns from Zero Dawn, and if you have not played the first game, you haven't finished the story, these are big spoilers, so I really wouldn't watch, at least for the next 2 minutes, just to be safe. We knew Sylens would return, judging from the post-credit scene in Zero Dawn. After Aloy defeats Hades, that subordinate function still lives and leaves its shell, or core, because it's useless, and then Sylens captures it in his lantern device. And then, creepily, in Sylens fashion, he calls it his old friend, and of course he's trying to find the signal that woke Hades in the first place. In the Forbidden West trailer, we see Sylens using his ability to override the machines, which he discovered from Aloy and Zero Dawn. And he's interacting with this unknown tribe, which reminds me of the way that he used the Shadow Carja and formed the Eclipse in Zero Dawn in order to further his goals and learn more about the old ones. Whatever he's up to, we know that Sylens is out for himself. That's his primary goal, and he's going to do whatever he can in order to feed that obsession with the old ones. Speaking of tribes, this trailer features 1 or 2 more tribes. We're going to treat them like 2 separate ones for the sake of this video. The first is this more friendly looking tribe wearing green and headdresses, and this looks closest to the Utaru tribe in Horizon Zero Dawn. They're so rare that we only see a few of them in the first game, and because of that, their culture is largely unknown. However, we do know that they're very agricultural, owing to the fertility of their homeland, the Great Plains of the US, which in relation to the first game is to the east and the north of where Zero Dawn takes place. It would make sense that this tribal member harvesting corrupted crops in the trailer is from the Utaru, but it could also very well just be a brand new tribe that we haven't been introduced to yet. The second of the new tribes looks more militaristic and aggressive. It could be the Tenakth from Zero Dawn. Again, it's a very rare tribe. We only see a few of them in the first game. They're described as raiders. They're bloodthirsty and aggressive, and they're even suggested to be cannibals. They wear feathers and they paint their upper bodies, which is a very clear comparison if you look at this new tribe in the trailer. They've got some feathers going on, and also they're painting their entire bodies. Zero Dawn teaches us that the Tenakth are located south of the Sundom, which is more of Arizona, New Mexico, and possibly even Mexico. If we look closer at this new tribe in the trailer, we can see that they're painted pretty much head to toe. They've got armor adorned with bones and spikes and these big feather plumes. Again, my best guess at this point is that this is an offshoot of the Tenakth or the Tenakth themselves, but it could just be an entirely new tribe. A lot of the overarching narrative in Zero Dawn revolves around corrupted machines led by Hades in order to bring about a second global extinction. The trailer for Forbidden West places a big focus on what Guerrilla has called the Red Blight. We don't know the origin of this infection, but we can see that it's starving animals and tribes in the West. This theory could be completely wrong, but this blight could have originated from one of Gaia's subordinate functions, particularly Demeter, which was responsible for restoring plant life across the planet. In addition to Hades and Hephaestus, Demeter had observable deviations in behavior in the form of metal flowers. Of course, the deviations for the other two were more severe, but perhaps someone or something is using Demeter in order to create this red corrupted land. But also it could be that the corruption is coming from the water, in which case Poseidon could be involved. Another possibility could be Aether, which was responsible for detoxifying the Earth's atmosphere. As we can see, the weather has spiraled out of control in the West, generating supercell storms that flood canyons and fields. Guerrilla tells us that Aloy will have to go to great lengths in order to save it. There are 2 glyphs that that give us a lot of detail into the Forbidden West. Now, some of this stuff could change, could not even be involved, but it's absolutely hinting at what we could see in the next game. The first glyph is called the Forbidden West, located on the west side of the map south of Sunfall. This one talks about the land beyond the Daunt, which we understand to be the Grand Canyon. The western lands are unlike anything the people of Sundom have seen. There are various deserts of pale white, color of fire, blue sands that reflect. There are vast prairies of tall grass and black flowers. There are plains of dried mud cracked like a mosaic. There's a lot of talk of unknown animals and strange birds. They describe the Pacific Ocean as a lake 100 times the size of Daybrink. There are cities of the ancients sunken below the surface. They mention what appears to be Las Vegas, a dead city consumed by shifting dunes and seas of sand. There are more strange and terrible machines, vast metal birds. There's references to new tribes. First off are the machine blood drinkers, which Bryn references to. We'll talk about him in a second. Another tribe are nocturnal hunters, pale as ash, wearing the same faces. A third tribe digs pits in the sand and fills them up for unknown reasons. And then a fourth tribe is only seen in the ocean with thin, dark boats. Whether any of these tribes are going to be seen or whether we're already seeing them in the trailer and we just don't know about it yet, there are a lot of hints in the original game as to what we could see. So I think this is some exciting tidbits, and there's a lot of speculation to be had. The next glyph that references the Forbidden West is History of Sunfall, which is found in Bright Market. We learn that Sunfall was built after Iriv, one of the kings of the Carja in the 6th century, took his army and attempted to pass through the Daunt in order to discover the Forbidden West. They managed to get through, but never returned and were never seen again. His brother, Basadid, deemed the land beyond the Daunt as dangerous and named it the Forbidden West. That's where we get the name from. And he decided to build Sunfall as the last bastion for Sundom. This really builds up the Forbidden West as a mythical place, and that's how it's treated in Zero Dawn. But it could very well be that Iriv lived and began a settlement in the West as an offshoot of the Carja. Given the attention to detail with the lore and narrative that Guerrilla gives to Zero Dawn, I wouldn't be shocked if Iriv is mentioned in some capacity. Another set of hints for the Forbidden West comes from a quest in Zero Dawn called Acquired Taste. Bryn, a former Banuk shaman who decided to drink machine blood after hearing a tribe in the Forbidden West does that, experiences visions and asks Aloy to collect some blood for him. When you deliver the final blood for the Stormbird, he drinks it and sees a vision so frightening that he doesn't even share the details. He says it involves a future with destruction and Aloy's death. He decides then and there to leave the region and says if Aloy weathers the coming storm to look for him. When Aloy asks where to look for him, in the west or in the storm, he says, in dreams, yes, which I can't tell if that's an answer or a non-answer. He's completely insane because he drinks machine blood, but it's still a hint at the events that might force Aloy to the west. Another reference to the Forbidden West comes from High Matriarch Tirsa. Before leaving the sacred land, Aloy can ask her about Rost. We learned that a long time ago, Rost's daughter was captured by outlanders, which forced him to decide to become a Death Seeker and track down all 12 outlanders. He managed to kill all of them, and in his journey, he traveled to a variety of places, including the Utaro land and even into the Forbidden West. Unfortunately, due to the events of Zero Dawn, and this might be a spoiler if you haven't played the game once again, we're not going to learn about the Forbidden West from Rost. But again, I found it to be a fun little detail, and it speaks to the mythical value of the Forbidden West. That was 10 things you need to know about the Horizon 2 Forbidden West reveal. These are the very early stages. We only have a single trailer and not many interviews to get information from. So once we get more info, I will be covering it here on the channel. And make sure you don't miss it by subscribing if you haven't already. Follow me on social media to stay up to date with my content and join my Discord to discuss Horizon 2 and other games that you're interested in. I want to give a big thanks to my patrons Bill, Grass, Jackie, Spyro, Kamal, and Patrick for supporting me further. If you didn't know, I have a Patreon that allows you to support me further and get lots of exclusive content like updates on new videos and behind the scenes videos. If you want to learn more, link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.